Well, ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing is very proud to bring you 10 3-minute rounds for the vacant WBC International Heavyweight crown. Our officials appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control, Mr. Alistair Hayes, and by the World Boxing Council, Signor Mauro Betti. Our 3 scoring judges, should this go the distance, from Hungary, Bella Florian. From England, John Keane. From the USA, John McKay. Timekeeper, Mr. Peter Humphrey. When the bell rings, referee in charge from England, Mr. Ian John Lewis. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing in the red corner, wearing the white shorts with purple. On the scales, 16 stone, 13 pounds, 6 ounces. An undefeated record, 10 contests, 9 wins, 6 inside the distance, 1 draw. From Conisbrough, Yorkshire, the White Rhino, David Allen. And in the blue corner, wearing the white and black shorts. On the scale, 17 stone, 7 pounds, 9 ounces. From 18 contests, 17 wins, 14 inside the distance, only 1 defeat. Former WBC International Silver Heavyweight Champion from Brixton, London, the body snatcher, Dillian Whyte.
Oh, the referee. I spoke to you both in the dressing room. I back up command at all times. You both know the rules. Was to hit, pick the punches up. And when I shout break, you break clean. And remember, defend yourselves at all times. Shake hands. The fight don't stop.
Well, both of those two just a little bit reluctant to touch gloves, and John Lewis telling them that there would be no fight until they did, and there's been plenty of chat between these two. It started at the press conference a month ago. Whyte didn't have an opponent on that occasion. He and Eddie Hearn basically just called out David Allen. LcStovall, his manager, who's in his corner tonight, was there. Initially, Allen didn't want to give Whyte the advantage of taking him at short notice, but then did agree to the fight. Dominic Ingle, who's been training him, who is out in Fuerteventura with Kell Brooks, so that's why he's not here tonight, and LcStovall didn't want Allen to take this fight, but he just could not resist it. He's unproven completely, Glenn, David Allen, but one thing that everybody will tell you about him is that he has a granite chin.
Yeah, well, he comes with plenty confidence, says, you know, he's going to win this and win it in style. Comes from a boxing family, so, you know, it's in the blood, but what's he going to be like when he gets hit by these big punches from Dillian Whyte?
And Whyte's come out southpaw. Runs that southpaw jab into the features of Allen, so that's a surprise. This is not something that we expected to see. It's something that's been worked on with Mark Tibbs down at West Ham, down at the gym, and Allen we last saw against Jason Gavin, and it was a very, very messy fight. He was supposed to be fighting Richard Towers, who's ringside actually, way to our left-hand side. Towers pulled out late on, no particular reason given, but Allen and Towers friends, so there wasn't too much criticism. Allen feels that if this goes past 5 rounds, he has got the energy and the work rate to win this fight. But he has to be able to execute, he has to be able to land punches on Whyte.
I'm not sure why Whyte's come out with a southpaw stance. Something different, as you said. Not sure it's a good sign, though. You'd want to start the best way you can, wouldn't you? Get in the fight before you try anything a bit different.
I thought he was going to switch back then for a second. The stance looked like it might change, but he stuck with it for the duration of this opening round. Allen's been here, there and everywhere for sparring throughout the course of his career.
Yeah, he's been in with Klitschko and Joshua and pretty much everybody he can to get the experience. So he knows what he's doing. Still inexperienced in just 10 fights, but undefeated in those 10.
looking to try and land that left hand. Allen hasn't really managed to get too much through in his opening session so far.
No, it's been Whyte just popping away with that jab. Nothing big though, but effective nonetheless.
Establish his jab, establish it, stick the 1-2 in his face and move that head. Hold your ground, yeah? Hold up.
In the Dillian Whyte corner, Mark Tibbs dispensing the advice, and we've already seen something from Dillian Whyte and the trainer as well that we didn't expect to see.
Second out, round 2.
The opening round, the first 3 minutes went Dillian Whyte's way, and he's back in the orthodox stance now. He boxed southpaw for the first 3 minutes, and now back in the orthodox stance, and Allen is just he's eating that jab at the moment. Allen's been working with, amongst others, Joe Joyce and Fraser Clark, the two Team GB super heavyweights. Joyce in particular, a very mobile, big super heavyweight. Off to the Rio Olympics, Fraser Clark's had a tremendous season, but Joyce qualified ahead of him, and 3 rounds with each, and that 3-round sprint is their format, and Allen has been living with them in terms of work rate, and that's really what he's pinning his hopes on in this fight, because at the minute he can't really get anything landed on Whyte.
Yeah, he's looking to establish his jab. That's what Mark Tibbs said. Establish the jab first and then start bringing the big punches through. It's not really the way I expected this one to start, with jabs going down. Not a great deal from Allen, but Whyte pretty busy with that jab, just picking it, not trying to get too much with it, just finding the rhythm.
Strafing kind of right hand there from Whyte. Didn't make completely solid contact, but he's almost doing what he wants with David Allen in there at the moment. Allen's never looked hurt or in any kind of trouble so far, but Whyte just keeping those hands busy, keeping them moving, and plenty is getting through here. He's not having to expend an awful lot of energy, and when the first round comes to him, he's doing the same in the second.
David Allen still in front of him, trying to avoid some of the bigger punches, then come back with his own. This could get interesting if it goes a few rounds. Allen's still there after 5 or 6 and pushing Whyte. See what sort of stamina he's got.
That's been the talk from the Allen camp. His head though just snapped back a couple of times there by jabs from Whyte. We've got that fight with Joshua, of course, that he so wanted after a much publicised confrontation in the amateurs all those years ago.
He's starting to try and look to do a little bit more, Allen. Trying to get his own jab working, which he needs to do to start getting a bit of rhythm.
Whyte was just looking for the uppercut there, didn't quite manage to land it. As for the entire second round, orthodox after going southpaw in the first. Let's go ringside to Ed Robinson once again. He's with Johnny Nelson.
Well, we didn't expect these two to come out jabbing, and we certainly didn't expect Dillian Whyte to come out jabbing from the southpaw stance. What was that about, Johnny?
I think Dillian Whyte's trying to put a bit of a display on for David Allen, but David Allen's hoping to make this fight go long. That's why he stood in front of him. He's not on the back foot. He's wanting Dillian to work all the way through. So when he gets past halfway, he's going to be a little tired. Then he's going to try and put the pressure on. This is what he wants. If you look at David Allen, all he's doing is walking him down, trying to slip the shots. He'll take 1 or 2 and absorb the shots, but his plan is to make Dillian Whyte work as much as possible.
If turning southpaw at the start was mind games from Dillian Whyte, is that mind games as well from David Allen standing up in between rounds?
Of course it is, of course it is. David Allen's a very confident young man, and he really fancies this. We may not know a lot about David Allen, but he really fancies this, and he knows the longer this fight goes, the better his chances.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting.
Well, as the boys mentioned there, David Allen standing up between rounds, Dillian Whyte on a kind of bar stool, so remaining fairly upright himself, and He's gone back to southpaw at the start of the third round here, Whyte. So he's mixing and matching so far. Odd round southpaw, the one even round orthodox. And back in the orthodox stance now.
Yeah, one of the things about standing up or sitting on the high stool with the big men takes an awful lot out of the legs. Sitting down, standing up between rounds, as they, you know, so they have to stand or sit on that tall stool, so they're not putting so much on those legs between rounds.
Again, Whyte just working away. Look for the right hand there. Just caught Allen with a glancing blow on the top of the head. That was a better looking right hand, but once again Allen just takes it. Whyte sticks out the jab. A lot of this has been taken on the gloves, but they still have a concussive kind of effect, or at least can do, the longer the fight goes on.
Still walking forward, Allen. Wonder how long he can keep doing that under the punches coming back from Whyte.
Dillian Whyte was a bit frustrated, I think, by his performance on the other card of Anthony Joshua against Dominic Brazil back at the end of June. Beats Bakurin, who flits between cruiserweight and heavyweight, stopped him in the 6th of 8. Felt he could have done a little bit better. He's moving to his right-hand side for a couple of uppercuts there. Whyte just looking to try and change the angle a bit, and Allen is exactly where he's been throughout the course of the fight so far, which is straight in front of him. Nice left hand there from Whyte.
Yeah, that was nice. Right hand to the head, to the body, and then the left hook behind it from Whyte. He's thinking a bit in there. He's trying a few things out. And Allen landing with his own jab, still just pushing forward, trying to catch the punches from Whyte on the gloves. Take as much as he can. Try and wear the big man out.
Trying to keep that head moving, that upper body moving as much as he can, Allen. When you look at him, he's got a very, very solid pair of legs on him. David Allen, not particularly tall for a heavyweight, came in at 16 stone 13 pounds. Dillian Whyte 17.5 stone.
Dillian Whyte still boxing with a game plan, still trying to use his jab, not overdo it. Whyte having some success there.
Big overhand right there from Allen. That's the first punch of real authority that he's thrown so far.
Come on, Dave. Only tip-top. Come on, working. Not working, David.
Yeah, big right hand. Well, that's can be the danger punch. You got him right on the chin now.
Round 4.
And he's growing in confidence. Whyte, he's egging the crowd on, trying to get the crowd behind him.
Well, the Allen corner there between rounds are telling him to throw more punches as he walks wide down. Mark Tibbs was telling Dillian Whyte to just keep grinding, keep throwing, because they know that Allen is going to come forward, but he's not going to go anywhere. He's going to be in front of Whyte all night long. What he's talked about every time he's discussed this fight, Allen, is the fact that the longer it goes, the more it will suit him. That he's got the work rate, he's got the engine, but there's no doubt, I don't think, that Dillian Whyte has won the first 3 rounds of this fight.
Now he's starting to let some bigger punches. Whyte, he's a bit patient early on, just working behind the jab and picking his shots, warming up to the job. But I wonder how long it is before he really starts to let the big swings go.
And he's thrown a lot of punches here, Dillian Whyte, and the effect it's having really is it means that Allen is struggling really to get anything off himself. He's concerned with what's coming his way. He's just had that one shot that he tried to land at the end of that previous round, which just glanced off the glove and then clipped the chin of Whyte. That big overhand right goes for a left hook there, Allen, and then just ties Whyte up on the inside.
Yeah, Whyte going back to southpaw for a minute. If I was in Allen's corner as soon as Whyte turned to southpaw. Tell him just nail him with a big right hand.
There's a good uppercut there from Whyte. It was a lead uppercut really from a southpaw stance, which is a pretty high-risk manoeuvre, but bangs a couple into the body there, Whyte as well, and Allen just leaning on. Whyte just trying to turn him as I go towards the ropes and then just barges him off with the shoulder. And John Lewis has a quick word about that. He was always going to.
Well, he's just starting to get out. He's got to try and get a little bit more livelier, Allen, because he's got to try and win some rounds, hasn't he? The points are just stacking up for Dillian Whyte behind that jab. Still quite comfortable for Whyte in there. Oh, and there's the first of the haymakers.
Big right hand, measured and thrown by Whyte, but not landed. He's been working on his conditioning, on his stamina up at Loughborough University. Feels that it is coming on. It was lacking a bit, he admitted, against Anthony Joshua, but it's not something that can really be developed overnight, particularly in heavyweight.
You're still looking for the big shot, mate, are you? Are you? You're still looking for the big shot, Dave. When you're losing to short fights, to little tippy taps, you need to be busy, mate.
Well, good punches from Dillian Whyte, the body, then the uppercut. He's in control of this. He doesn't look to have, really got up a gear yet, Whyte. I mean, at the moment, this is enough to be winning the rounds.
Yeah. Softening though, with the 1-2 long, a bit above.
But sooner or later,
you won't like it, Dill. Got to be snappy. Snappy stuff.
They're going to start throwing the big ones.
Right, suck it up. Suck it up.
Mark Tibbs in the corner there. Excellent young up-and-coming trainer. Jimmy Tibbs, his father. Great name in the boxing game.
Into round 5, and the corner telling Allen that he's basically just losing rounds to tippy-tappy punches, as they were describing it. But he needs to throw more himself, because at the minute he is just, I won't say giving rounds away exactly, because there is a big gulf in experience between these two, but Whyte is just putting rounds in his pocket. It's as simple as that, and so far he's put 4 of them safely in there, and this is a 10-round fight. Junior Witter in that corner as well, of course, another product of the Ingle Gym, former world champion himself.
Yeah, and he's got Michael Marsden in the corner. He trains Stewie Hall for the world title win.
Well, that right hand from Whyte was pretty much bang on the belt, I thought. Ian John Lewis got straight in there and asked him to keep them up. It was a right to the body, followed by an attempted right to the chin, and good use of the feet there from Whyte as he moves away to his right-hand side. And again, he's just so much busier than David Allen, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get into the 6th round, because something has got to change here.
Yeah, there's a point when Allen, his game plan, they've said they're going to try and push him in the later rounds, make Whyte work. That's what they've done, but in doing so, they've also made Whyte well out in head on point, so it's time when he's got to try something different. Good uppercut there from Whyte, rocking the head back.
Off the back of a right hand as well, to the side of the head, and there it is again, right to the body, right uppercut. We've seen that combination before, you've seen that combination before at close quarters from a certain Mr. Tyson.
Certainly have. Don't know if I actually saw it. I felt it.
To the final minute of round 5, and the first half of this fight has gone Dillian Whyte's way. The mouth just a little bit open at times here from Whyte, so maybe...
Yeah, I'm sure he is starting to tire a bit. He's thrown an awful lot of punches. I mean, for a heavyweight fight, there's plenty action, there's plenty punches going in, entertaining. And they haven't started to load up yet. Allen hasn't thrown out a great deal, and you just have a feeling that the time's coming when he's going to just start letting everything go. He has to.
Peter Fury said about David Allen that you could hit him with a baseball bat, which Dillian Whyte almost did there with that right uppercut, kind of 45-degree punch, and he'll just keep coming, and so far that's proved to be the case. He let someone go at the end of the round there, Allen, but that's really all that we saw from him in that 3 minutes.
Not too casual. All right, suck up. How do you feel? All right, gears were better.
In the Whyte corner, and everything so far going his way.
Yeah, that was a really good punch, wasn't it? Got a lot of leverage and power into that. Dillian Whyte.
So now into the second half of the fight. They're scheduled for 10 for the vacant WBC international title. Dillian Whyte in the black and white, the white rhino, David Allen in the purple and white. And he's been saying all along that once this gets into the second half of the fight, once it gets past round 5, which we are now, then it's his territory.
Well, remember, I think Dillian Whyte has yet to step up through his gears. We know he can do more than this, fight a higher pace than this. He did in that fight with Joshua, where he really had to, didn't he? They really both went for it. Joshua come out a good winner.
Waiting to see what's next for him is mandatory. Joseph Parker is taking a fight against Alexander Dimitrenko just to keep busy. Again, the right to the body there, followed by the right uppercut there from Whyte.
Well, he's thrown the right shots, he's worked the jab well, he's worked the uppercut well. This has been good boxing from Whyte for, to see a heavyweight have that sort of variety is all good. But he's kept pressing forward. Dave Allen, we're just waiting for him to start throwing his punches. Can he do something else than just plow forward? Can he land?
Gum shields come out there. Whyte had just switched back southpaw there briefly for the first time in a while. It's Allen's gum shield, so that one will be rinsed off. Whyte just leaning on the ropes in the neutral corner up to our left-hand side, breathing a little bit heavily, but as we know, well, we don't know, but we strongly suspect there cannot be any other outcome of the first 5 rounds. He's 5 rounds up in a 10-round fight. Trying to lean on Whyte a little bit more here and push it back towards the ropes, but again he just collects a crisp left hand followed by a right hand. He hasn't blinked as he's taken any of these punches, takes another solid looking shot to the side of the head, and what people say about his chin so far is proving to be true, but having a good chin, if you don't land any punches, is not going to win you a fight.
No, it's not. I mean, he is very strong. He obviously has got a good chin, but he's taken a few now.
A bit low to me. It was on the blind side of me and John Lewis, but he acknowledged the fact there, Alan. We had an entertaining exchange at the press conference, and then again at the weigh-in yesterday. They're two very confident characters. Whyte has always felt that he's got too much ability and too much experience for Alan, and so far that is proven to be 100% correct.
It certainly is. You made the point earlier on about the sparring, and at this moment Alan is acting a lot like and fighting like a sparring partner.
Well, there's the main man, Josh Warrington, on the pads with Nick Manners. We'll be seeing him against Patrick Hyland before too long. But a different kind of a build-up for Warrington. Hasn't had quite as much notice as he normally would. He thought he might be in Germany, possibly the States, for a kind of keep-busy fight. They were hoping to get Lee Selby to Elland Road. Elland Road was only available, I think, for 1 weekend at the start of June. It just hasn't worked out, but he still has to make sure that he gets it done tonight, and he gets it done well.
Seconds out, round 7.
So 4 to go, they're scheduled for 10. And Dillian Whyte is cruising here. Another big uppercut lands. He hasn't been able to miss with that so far, really.
Yeah, I was making the point earlier on. He just seemed he seems a little bit in sparring partner mode, Dave Allen. You know, where you want a sparring partner to come and push forward and close the distance down and make your fight work. Klitschko and them, that's the sort they want. Tyson Fury, you know, they want somebody like this. And I just wonder if he's getting that mentality of a sparring partner, because he's not really getting his own shots off.
And time is running out. To get back in this, he's going to have to win every round from now on, and he's going to have to throw in at least a knockdown, a couple of knockdowns into the mix. And Whyte just looking to tee off now and really launch these punches, looking for a big overhand right, which just deflected off the glove, again setting himself for that backhand. Gum shield has come out again, and it's Allen's again. That's the second time. He'll need to be a little bit careful. If that happens again, the referee could possibly take a dim enough view to take a point.
Yeah, it was funny. It came out when he was under a little bit of trouble there, wasn't he? He took some big heavy shots from Whyte, who just started to open up. And I think Whyte will probably, you know, he wanted to get his man out of there. He's winning this fight comprehensively, boxing, but now, you know, he's a heavyweight. He'll want to win inside schedule.
Well, he's had 14 stoppage wins out of his 17 victories. Moves from Jamaica to London at 12 years old. Boxing's in the family. His dad and granddad were both bare-knuckle fighters. Took up kickboxing first, then boxing. Got himself down to Miguel's gym under the arches down in Brixton, where he teamed up with Chris Oko.
Well, he's took some big shots, Alan. You know, so far that gym's living up to its reputation. A little bit low. That couple of punches from Whyte have gone a bit low.
Followed into the upper thigh, almost just below the left hip there.
Yeah, there's nothing intentional about it. It's just the way he's winding them up, trying to get as much power as he can, bringing them up from the ground almost.
Well, the seconds tick down at the end of another round, and the 7th round has been very similar to the previous 6. It was a big jump up this for David Allen. He was aware of that. We were aware of that. 10 fights, 9 wins, 1 draw, and a fairly limited amateur career as well. And there is certainly no questioning his heart, his resolve. But at the minute, the man you're looking at there is, of the two, the significantly better fighter.
Yeah, Whyte landing with a lot better shots. He opened up a little bit more, went up an extra gear, Whyte, in this round. And so far, that chin really is very solid. And I can see why the guys use him for first-class sparring. When he's right in front of you, you're going to get some work. He's going to push you all the way. But needs a bit more if he's going to make a name for himself in this heavyweight division. This is a great opportunity to gate crash the division with a very good name. If you can get the name of Dillian Whyte with a win next to it.
Well, this for the vacant WBC international title. The WBC champion, of course, is Deontay Wilder, who defended against Chris Arreola not that long ago. That was made at pretty short notice after the fight against Alexander Povetkin fell through, after Povetkin failed his drug test. Joshua Wilder is one that people are looking at down the line, of course. Fury, Klitschko, they rematched before too long, after that one was postponed from July the 9th due to that ankle injury suffered by Fury. Chisora is an opponent that's been mentioned for Dillian Whyte, who was on record the other day as saying that he feels that's possibly unlikely. Chisora challenged Pulev for the European title back at the start of May over in Germany. I was ringside for that one, and Pulev was a convincing winner. Pulev's one who's been mentioned as a possible opponent for Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, you know, it's great when there's all these fights getting talked about in the heavyweight division, which has come alive again after so long in the doldrums. Great champions, the Klitschko's, can't take anything away from them. Superb reigns, but just lack that little bit of excitement. But we know the heavyweight division for some of the great names in the past.
Again, that right hand from Whyte is a little bit south of the border, and he clips Allen with another right hand, and Allen just keeps coming forward.
Well, Allen, you know, he's never complained about it, has he? Never made a fuss. Just keeps going forward, just keeps trying to press. But you know, you want to see him start to try and unload some shots, test the chin of Whyte.
In terms of the British title, the board did actually ask for Dillian Whyte against Hughie Fury, but the Fury camp deciding that they weren't particularly interested in that fight. Some good news for the younger Fury, actually, in recent weeks. The cause of his medical problems, they think they got to the bottom of it. It's a rare form of acne which has been poisoning the blood and causing him to feel listless and tired. He feels he's been operating at about 30–40%. And now he can really start to pick things up. He's got a lot of fights under his belt for a very young fighter. He could be another name to throw into the mix for too long. And Allen looking to try and send a right hand through there, and Whyte moves away to his left-hand side and again looks to get back on that right uppercut.
Well, that's the one thing he hasn't done as he's late in the fight. He hasn't wound. Oh, there we go. Right on cue. I was just going to say he hasn't wound up any of them big right hands, and that's what you need to see.
Dillian Whyte just sticking out his tongue at David Allen as he goes back to the corner. He was licking his lips at the weigh-in yesterday at the prospect of getting in the ring with the White Rhino, and he's been a big game hunter so far because he's had Allen in his sights right from the very start, and nothing has really changed.
No, well, he looks okay. Throwing an awful lot of punches, you know, which is good for a big man. That's testing that stamina out.
With everything, yeah, with everything. With me? Yeah.
I think he wants to pick it up and really let the punches go now.
Turn him, make him look silly. He's missing now, rolling on them, run, turn him.
Second round 9.
Into the ninth, and John Lewis having to step between these two, waiting for the bell. Allen is always just so keen to come forward. There's no faulting his commitment to the cause, his eagerness to fight, but he just hasn't been able to get his punches off and land anything meaningful on Dillian Whyte throughout the course of this fight so far. And there's a lot of talk beforehand, and I'm afraid he just hasn't been able to deliver on it.
No, I mean, he's doing what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to take Dillian Whyte in the late rounds. He said he was going to make him work, but he also said he was going to punish him and knock him out. Well, Dillian Whyte has worked very, very hard, but let's give him every round on my card. Just not enough punches thrown from Allen. You know, he's in close there, he's pushing him, he's using his strength, but there's no punches being thrown.
Whyte just keeping those hands busy, and just leaning on into the second half of this ninth round, and that's a good combination there from Whyte. Again, just finding the chin of Allen, chopping down with the right hand as Allen just dipped a little bit lower at the waist. This fight was actually made by Dillian, Whyte and Matchroom and David Allen for the British title, but the board decided that Allen didn't have enough experience and that he would have to fight an eliminator against Sam Sexton first. Whyte does want the British title, everybody does, but he's not going to wait forever. He was telling me a couple of days ago, and if another route becomes available, he'll take it.
There's a lot of leaning on from Whyte when it's really, he needs to give himself a little bit of room and let those arms go to work. There, it's Whyte who's managing to get the punches off. Landed a jab. Allen gets more than that he needs. And a body shot gets through from Allen. That's a bit better.
It's a good left hand on the inside, just got it up between the guards.
Well, it's not often you try to a lively heavyweight fight like this. Lots of action. Most of it from Dillian Whyte, though, fair to say.
And there's that uppercut again from Whyte, right on the bell at the end of the ninth.
Didn't like it.
There's some good work from Dillian Whyte on the ropes. Being pushed back there from Whyte, but he's got the savvy, the know-how to get those hands working. Some decent combinations inside and round after round. He's always managed to keep those hands working. And this is doing him the world of good. He's getting a real good workout, good test of the stamina. And he'll have enjoyed this. Allen, on the other hand, looks like there's so much left to give. You know, he looks fresh enough that he could give a lot more. I think that's been the disappointment, but tough as they come.
10th and final round. They're looking to touch gloves here. They're supposed to touch gloves. This is what is supposed to happen before the start of the final round. Dillian Whyte almost seemed a little bit reluctant there. I know there's been some banter, as people like to describe it, between these two before the fight, but I'd imagine that they will end on good terms, because even though Whyte has won this fight comfortably, I think he must have, even if it's grudging, respect for the durability and the heart of David Allen.
It is a funny old rule, that, isn't it? You know, 3 minutes of fighting still to go, and they decide to have a little peace pack and touch gloves. It's always been a funny one. Certainly at the end of a fight, by all means, fighters always are great with each other, but that's always been a bit strange.
Well, there's that famous story about Sam Langford, the legendary heavyweight who went to touch gloves with his opponent at the start of the third round. His opponent, confused, said, "Why are we doing this now? We only have to do this again before the start of the final round." And he said, "This is the final round," and then knocked him out.
Well, that's gracious enough, isn't it? Well, doing a bit more. Finally, he's letting the arms go now. Allen walks on your right hand, though. Good shot from Whyte.
Again,
a nice uppercut.
Again, that uppercut has worked really well for him. Just before that, he landed the right hand, and again, another shower of sweat just went spraying over ringside. And Whyte, after he threw yet another one, just heaved a breath in, took a step back, and the look on his face, it was almost as if to say, what do I have to do to make a dent in this man? Because all the stories about how tough he is are true, but in terms of your, well, just long-term health, really, how good can this be for you?
It's not recommended. It's good to miss a few shots. But I mean, he is great chin. And Whyte has thrown an awful lot of punches. Still landing a punch to the body there.
Trying to let those hands go, got a couple through to the body, and then Whyte just stretches those arms wide, mocking Allen almost, and he touched on it at the end of the last round. These rounds in the bank for Dillian Whyte will be very useful going forward, because stamina is something which he's admitted has been an issue. It's been brought into question, and 30 minutes of almost non-stop punching is what this has been.
Yeah, the crowd have absolutely loved this. Allen really going for it in this last round, finally letting the punches go. I wish he'd done it earlier. I really do. But maybe, you know, this would be a good learning fight for him as well. He knows he can mix it with the big boys.
Well, some boos there at the end, and I think there for Dillian Whyte, because David Allen went to touch gloves, went to shake hands, if you like, and Dillian Whyte wasn't having any of it. I don't think there's any real need for that, despite what's said in the build-up to a fight. It was all fairly good-natured stuff generally on the whole, so I don't see why they can't touch gloves at the end of the fight, why Whyte would be unwilling to do that, but it is what it is. At the end of the 10 rounds, David Allen has proved beyond the shadow of a doubt what a game tough, wholehearted competitor he is, but in truth, he was never really in it.
No, he wasn't. They are touching gloves now and having a hug, and that's the spirit of boxing that we want to see. He's a nice guy, Dillian Whyte. Sometimes gets a bad rap. He's a bit says a bit too much at times, but Dave Allen covered himself in glory with a brave attempt, give away a lot of experience to Dillian Whyte, but you know, he's come away with a lot, even with a loss, but coming away with still some pride.
Absolutely, taken at short notice. It wasn't what he wanted. He wanted a full camp, he wanted it in September. Circumstances conspired against him, as they often do in a fighter's career, in any sports person's career. But at the end of the 10 rounds, Dillian Whyte proved that he was the better man, and let's get confirmation of that now from our MC, Craig Stephen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to our judges' score totals. Judge John Keane, 191. Judge John McKay, 100-90. Judge Bella Florian, 99-91. All in favour of the winner. Now the WBC International Heavyweight Champion, the Body Snatcher, Dillian Whyte.
Well, some boos there from Dillian Whyte. He's been fairly popular, actually, when he's been out and about around Leeds at the press conference and at the weigh-in the last couple of days. 100 points to 90 from one judge, 100 to 91 from another, so a share of one round there for David Allen, and the third giving 1 round to David Allen. I'm not quite sure how that was arrived at, but he did put an awful lot into the fight. The main event is lurking just around the corner. Stay with us. Josh Warrington, the Warrior, 12 rounds at featherweight against Patrick Hyland. Isaac Lowe, who he's been sparring in the background there, the English champion. Warrington looking for world honours before long. He's #1 challenger to Gary Russell with the WBC, but Lee Selby is a fight that people have been talking about, but all of that will go away if he doesn't win tonight. That WBC international belt just being put over the formidable shoulders and frame of Dillian Whyte, who's just making his way down to ringside now, where he'll be talking to Andy Scott. Let's hand over to Andy now.
Dillian, congratulations, a clear points win over David Allen. How do you assess that performance?
Listen, everyone thought I was going to come in for a war. I showed everyone I can box. That was my whole game plan. Come here and box, that's it. Listen, man, I've been past 7 rounds my whole career. You know, those things is mental, and it's good. When you do the rounds, you get them in the bank and you say to yourself, if I can do 10 rounds, I can do 12 easy. I wasn't tired in there. I boxed 10 rounds at a good pace. I was working, used my experience against him. I outskilled him. He was expecting a war. When he was trading, I was just riding shots, popping with little punches, tapping him up and using my boxing skills. Show people I can box as well. I'm not just a warrior, you know?
David, I've got to ask you about Dillian. You've sparred with some world-class fighters. Can Dillian go on and win a world title in that domestic mix as well with the British heavyweights? Where do you rate him?
I've seen Dillian in the Klitschko camp. I know he's a very good fighter. I want to fight the best fighters. No disrespect, there was never any disrespect to Dillian. I want to fight the best, and I regard him as one of the best, at least in Britain, if not the world. I gave it my best. 2 things let me down: inexperience and a very good fighter.
Well done, Dillian.
Well, it might have suited David Allen